So I'm with Peter Pan, who's a regional franchisor from the Jim's Cleaning family. So Peter, can you just tell us about your involvement with the Jim's Cleaning Group?
Yes, started about 8 years ago. Took over 4 regions in Sydney. So it's the eastern suburbs of Sydney. 3 years later, I bought a 5th region. So now there's 5. 21 franchisees with 2 more coming on in the next couple of weeks. And then there's another couple on the go. So yeah, I mean, I started 8 years ago. Came from a different background. Started with gyms in antennas. And yeah, that's now a franchisor in the cleaning group.
Yeah, so maybe just want to talk about, you are a Diamond Award winning franchisor. So maybe you want to tell for people watching, what does that actually mean and how Jim's Group actually rates the franchisors on support?
Yeah, we have an award every year. It runs and it's purely based on what the franchisees vote for the franchisor in terms of how quickly you get back to them, the type of support that you give them. I think that one of the questions that they ask is also about their income.
Yeah.
Which is, and it's not that we ask how much are they making, it's whether they are happy with their income, and everyone has a different happiness. I mean, some might be happy at 1,000, others happy at 1,500 and 2,000 and above. So I'm lucky in my group, I have a lot of very successful franchisees. I hope I've had some input in that over the years. Yeah, and it's rated every year. Yes, definitely a diamond. I don't put them up in the wall. I know that I haven't got a wall. I don't have an office in Sydney, but I do have an apartment where I run the area. I mean, I'm originally from Melbourne, or my home is still in Melbourne. My family's down here, and for me, it's sort of going back and forward all the time, running that region. And I like to be hands-on. I visit franchisees when they go and do training. I'll take them a bottle of water or maybe a snack to have, while they're actually doing the training. And I think having that commitment or that building up that relationship works for me. It might not work for a lot of others, but that's just the way I do it. I take calls outside office hours. I don't have office hours. So if someone calls me at 10 o'clock at night, I probably would answer if I'm awake. I think during the last awards, I actually took a phone call at 9:30 when Jim was asking me to go up to the stage and actually receive the award. And I was outside on a phone call to a franchisee. It's just how I do it. Like I said, it might not work for others. Others like to have 9 to 5 office hours, and they will not accept phone calls outside of that. I'm different. It works for me. That's all I can say.
Now let's talk about, why should someone buy a franchise with Jim's Cleaning as opposed to maybe starting up an independent business, which is a question we always see all the time.
Yeah.
What do they get for that?
Look, with us, and I'm sure that other divisions are similar, but with the cleaning group, we have a 13-week plan that other divisions now are looking to adopt. And what that does is there's a prompt that comes out with some videos. It comes from Ali for the next 13 weeks or from when they start. They follow that plan. It just gives them little pointers on what they should be doing. Should they be dropping off cards? Should they be maybe going out and canvassing their area? And they find that helps them to sort of, because they don't know. I mean, and it gives them some sort of pointer of how to go to that next level. We also have it's 101 ways to get extra work by yourself by canvassing. That also helps them. So we give that to the prospective when they start, and it gives them just an idea of day 1, week 1, month 1, what you should be doing along that way. And it just gives them that sort of thing that they wouldn't get on their own. Most businesses, you buy, if it's an established business, you spend probably 2 or 3 months in there learning the job. Here, you've got that help constantly from the office here, from the franchisor on the ground, actually always guiding them on how to go. And
you also get the great starter pack with all the custom uniforms, really, and all the packs. And
to give you an idea, when I first started 8 years ago, we had a starter pack, but it was up to the franchisor to sort of go and pick up uniforms, order the cards and everything else. We still have to order the cards and so on, but the uniforms now come in part of the package. So Hayder has put down, has bought a Jim's Cleaning bag, and in that you have all your polos, you have a business shirt, you have your jacket, pants even. So we even provide the pants now. And that gets given to them on the first day of arrival, which is usually a Sunday. They arrive at about 3 o'clock. By about 5 o'clock, they've got a uniform. We ask them to wear it through the whole training, and other divisions are now following our steps. So when Hayter put this together, there was almost no one wearing uniform on day one, which is the Monday. And then we got to a point where there'd be 15, 20 cleaning guys just in uniform and everyone else was wearing civvies. Now, because I attend training whenever I have someone coming down to Melbourne, I see a lot more of them doing that now. The dog wash, for instance, and the fencing guys and the mowing guys, they're also putting that on. And that helps build a closeness with the gyms group before they even start their training. I think it gives them a sense of belonging and the help that they get there. I mean, when I go down to gyms, I mean, yes, I might be wearing a gym's cleaning uniform, but I'm really representing gyms group while I'm there. So I'm open to questions from anyone. And I get that a lot because Michael actually uses me, says, guys, if I'm not here, Peter will be able to answer any questions because at the very end of it, it's gyms group. It's not, forget about the polo that I'm wearing, it's actually the gyms group.
But some of the things you're mentioning, like the plans and all the great equipment ready to go and all the uniforms, whereas if they were an independent business, they have to go and source all that stuff themselves. You take all care of that as a franchisor, and from day one, they're literally ready to go on the road.
Absolutely.
Plus, they've got the 24-hour support from you, as we know, from the phone as well. From what you said.
Almost 24 hours.
But you're a personal business coach as well.
Yes.
So maybe you want to explain to people who don't know, if they're looking at buying a gym's cleaning franchise, what does a franchisor like yourself actually do for them?
Look, apart from on-hands training, and I've built up a team in Sydney. I've got a trainer there that's been with me for 8 years. He was actually the first franchise that I sold. Tony, that's you. So they spend a lot of time with Tony. Tony comes from a background where he was very high in a BP, and he's left that sort of corporate world to come in and start his own business because of family. His family was growing up and so on. So he's a very good support base. The stuff that I've learned from Tony as well, because I've never been in the corporate world, I've been self-employed since I was 21, so I've always been in my own business. He's taught me a lot of stuff that I then put onto other franchisees.
So you got full-time trainer, which is great and ready available for them, plus yourself? Yep.
Plus myself. So if I'm not available, well, when I come to Melbourne, they know that they can call Tony. If I'm up there, they'll usually call me. During the training sessions, I will go out and meet them on site, and we will do an oven even when the oven doesn't need to be cleaned, just to show them on hands on how to do that.
Whereas if they're alone in business, they have to worry about all that stuff themselves. You
would not even know where to start. The chemical that we use, for instance, all the equipment that we use, you wouldn't have that. You need to go out and literally source all that knowledge on your own. Whereas here they call it, so I've got 3 people that I can call on in Sydney where they've got over probably between them 60 years of experience in the cleaning industry. One even teaches certificate 2, 3 and 4 at TAFE College.
So you've got all these experts on hand at any time to help out?
Absolutely.
Yep.
The franchisees know the numbers. I usually pass numbers on to these people and I say, listen, if my franchisee calls with a question, please help. And that sort of information is invaluable. You don't get that going out on your own.
And obviously the marketing as well. So franchisors are responsible for marketing, for creating work, and obviously there's leads there already.
Absolutely. So what we do is part of our fee structure is a percentage, and in cleaning it's $147 and some cents. We collect that as a franchisor. We then spend that for the franchisee's benefit. And it's something that, again, I knew nothing of when I first started. 8 years ago, I had no idea about that. I was a franchisee before that, and that was already taken care of. It was a big learning curve at the beginning, learning of where to spend, how much to spend, what works, what doesn't work. And some things don't work. You know, you try them, they don't work. At the moment, we're doing most of it on Google. We're doing some Facebook. We're doing census. I think Hayter's just signed a big contract now with $300,000 for the year. We'll be individual pages for every franchisee on about 7 websites, and that's coming from the divisional.
So the marketing you take care of. So whereas, as we were saying, in independent business, you have to worry about all that stuff, learn that stuff. No, don't have to worry about that. You take care of it.
You start, day one, you hit the road, you put yourself down for work, you just get leads. You will eventually learn that those leads are coming from your fees, but you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about the chemicals. You don't have to worry about your uniforms. Your car is sign written. We take care of that before they start. You've got your business cards. You've got magnets that we give them. There's flyers that they can go and drop off in the territory. That sort of stuff, because not so much that we push, but we guide to go and do that marketing. And sometimes, I allow my franchisees, even before they start, like they've got 2 weeks to go, I say, listen, hit your area now before you go online. And
you help them with do the local area marketing and all that
I've
sort of stuff.
actually gone out with them on the road. I spent, the most amount of time I spent was with a franchisee probably about 3 years ago. I spent 3 full days from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock just canvassing his area.
Wow.
He's now doing his first split. And he's got work.
Which means he's got so many clients that he can't handle. He can sell that client base off. Yep.
So yeah, that's another thing which is great with gyms. It's something that you probably don't get with any other. I think it's actually unique to gyms. So I haven't heard of another franchise company that actually has this. You build up a clientele. For us, it's $1,100 of regulars per week. You can then sell it off. So in other words, if you were the franchisee, you come to me and you say, I've got $1,100. Can you help me sell it? I will actually sell that for you. We work out on a price, and the price is usually what the going price is, plus a bit more because they're picking up regular customers, and then I will actually help them do that sale. The most successful franchisee in my region, and may even be in gyms, I've had one franchisee did 7 sales in about 2.5 to 3 years.
Wow, so 7 splits, yeah.
7 splits. Now that's, mind you, it took me 2 years to convince him to do the first one. The thing that I find with, because everyone's personality is different, and the thing I find with the cleaning group is that they get attached to the customers. It's very hard for them to let go and sell that split. With Jody, I sort of nagged, for want of a better word, for about 2 years. I said, mate, do a split. You've got enough customers. You're working. You know, you spend more time at home. Take your wife for a holiday when you get that money, because they get a lump sum at the end of that 45-day period.
Yeah. They virtually never pay fees, right? She's never really had to pay fees because that would have been a plus a profit. Yeah.
In the end, when he left, he was ready to do his 8th, but circumstances didn't allow him to do that. He handed back to me 1,800 customers, regulars, which we could have done another split. And he had to go in such a hurry that we didn't do it. I couldn't find homes for those $1,800 because I rang everyone. Everyone was busy. And on the other end of the scale, the quickest split ever that I know of, from signing the contract to signing the contract on the split, 3 months in my region. That would have to be a record. I know others have been in the process of doing it in that time. No one has actually done it from day 1 to day 2.
Now, you've gone in depth about some unique benefits that people might not know about being a gym's cleaning franchisee, but can people do a trial day with you guys just to see what it's like? They don't have to they can come on the road?
They can. In actual fact, a prospect that I'm speaking to at the moment is actually on a trial day as we speak this week. He's having a couple. He's going out with a franchisee.
It's no obligation at all. They can just...
No, they don't have to go there. But look, a lot of them, the ones that haven't been in business, I strongly suggest that they go and do that. It's nothing worse than getting into a business if you don't like it. The one thing I've found in the different businesses that I've ran over my life is that if you enjoy something, you'll do good in it. If you want to go into something and you don't know what it is, you need to go and experience that, even for a day. I know it's only a short time, but at least it gives you that day-to-day running. A lot of them, there's a lot of stuff which is automated for them. Like, I mean, that we, again, teach them along the way that they can use. For instance, gyms has, like the gyms online. They can go onto that, they can book in when they want to take a lead. They can put in the time that they want to take a lead. They can put in the areas that they want to take a lead. This sort of stuff is already automated, so it gives them more time to work on their business rather than in the business. Some of them can't differentiate. Some of them go in and they keep thinking, I need to do this. No, you don't. You can build up a business by being the manager and handling all the other stuff, and then having workers or contractors doing that work.
Now, your guys can do a range of services, can't they? Commercial, they can do residential, they can do everything.
There's everything. We've got strata up there, and we've got commercial, we've got the domestic. We even do other things like the
contract work, right? You
contract work.
Yep.
That's exactly right. We've got DHA at the moment that we're doing work for. And DHA is the Department of Defence Housing. We also do things like NDIS. It's very hard to get into NDIS, and
we've got it, yeah.
We're lucky that we can do that. There's no registration for us because the cleaning office actually registers themselves. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And when you get busy, Joel, you can actually, you take yourself off maybe the jobs that you don't like doing, and that may be vacates, it might be NDIS, it could even be DHA, and you concentrate on the jobs that you like. One of my franchisees up there only does commercial work. He's taken 6 years to build up a business. He's got something like 11 workers.
Wow, so that's one point I want to point out, is that it's not just limited to themselves. They can they can grow the business to whatever they really want.
Absolutely. Right. This is probably one of my most successful guys up there. He, like I said, 11 workers. Only does childcare centres and commercials, nothing else. He won't do restaurants, he won't do shopping centres, he won't do domestic, he won't do anything else. Now, all he does is run his business. His fees are the same as someone starting new.
Wow.
So our monthly fee in gyms is $660 per month.
That's a flat fee, it's not turnover based at all, right?
It's a flat fee, whether you make $50 or you make $500,000, it's still the same fee. His fee, he probably takes maybe 2 or 3 leads a month. It's about around the $700 mark, and he's got a very, very large business.
Massive business with 11 people working for him. Wow.
Absolutely. I know the numbers, and I don't know if you want me to.
No, we won't put that on camera. No.
But yeah, he's a very, very successful franchisee. Now, you don't always start like that. You need to build up, and I advise my people, and I sort of, in our meetings, we go over it, that when you start, you need to do everything, because you want to know what you don't like. You need to do everything also because you need to know how to do that job. So if you do go along the path of having contractors or workers, you need to know what you need to do to train them. We don't train the contractors, so it's up to the franchisee, but we still enforce the same rules.
Yeah.
Contractor gets a complaint, it's not the contractor, it's Joel, he's the franchisee. So they all know that from the beginning. I instill in them. My job in the beginning when I sign them up is I go and help them set up the email. When Documents gives me control of FMS, we set up the areas, which is again what I do. I do not leave it up to them because I know how FMS works. They could make a mistake, which means they won't get any work. I pound it into them that needs to be updated minimum up to 10 days. It can be done every hour, but no, if you leave it longer than 10 days, you'll get 0. I set them up on the default. I help set them up on voicemail. There's nothing worse than not having a voicemail, a professional voicemail. Again, just from experience, a few years ago, one of my franchisees called me and says, listen, I have a job that I can't do. It's worth $880. Who do you recommend? I said, look, Joel just started. Give him a call. Phoned. Hello, leave a message. That franchisee didn't get that job. My franchisee that had been there for a couple of years rang me back. He says, I'm not willing to give him that job because it's so unprofessional. And quick smart, he lost $800, but he learned. He set up his email straight after that, or his voicemail.
Now, what's your lifestyle like now? We always talk about with gyms, obviously the lifestyle's great and all the benefits, and it's one of the main ones we hear, but what's your lifestyle like as a gym?
As a franchisor?
As a franchisor.
There is no lifestyle. No, it's all work. Now, look, I enjoy it. I spend a lot of time away from family. Like I said, my family's down here. So I spend half the time in Sydney and half down here. But I do try to come down whenever I have someone new in gyms.
So when you always come down with your guy one in training, which is very...
It's funny, when I asked Jim about 8 years ago if I can attend the training sessions, he thought it was a great idea because no one else was doing it. I now see a lot more faces there, but at the beginning when I was going there was no one else. So now I see a lot of other divisions are actually going in there with her. Even on the one day that someone attends, they do. I spend Sunday to Thursday with them. So, and that's where I think hearing the same people talking, Mike Davenport and Jim, it sort of almost puts it into your head that, like there's a process, and that process is always updated every time you go down. Numbers, for instance, in terms of how many clients we're getting per year or new customers through the call centre. When I started, we had something like 200. We've got now 450,000, and that's new customers. Things like service. When I took over the cleaning, I think we had something like 60 or 70. It's now 170,000 unserviced. So the amount of work coming in, because it's not just the cleaning group, it's every other division advertising for every franchisee. 4,000 vans going around. Trust me, if you had to go and put 4,000 big billboards out, it will cost you a fortune. We've got that every day driving around the whole of Australia. Doesn't matter where you are. If there's a franchisee there, he's driving around in a billboard. I teach my guys in the beginning, if there's not a lot of work coming in, when they're doing the marketing, don't sit at home, have a coffee, go out and sit outside a coffee shop. Park your van in front if you can. As a franchisee, prior to that, when I was an antenna guy, I used to go and sit outside of Bunnings. And Jimmy actually uses that in his training, that a franchisee from another division used to do this. It's just something that I did, and it was purely by accident. I'd love to say it was my brilliant idea. It wasn't. I was there to pick up some parts, and I happened to park right at the front door, and someone actually came and knocked on my window and says, "Do you do antennas?" I felt like saying, "Well, no, I just like sitting in a car that says antennas." But that's how I got this job, and then I thought, if it works, let's try again. And then I used to constantly go and sit outside, and it wasn't every time you'd pick up a job, but there was a lot of times that I would. Bunnings is like, for any division, it's almost like your second home. You know, if you're cleaning, you're going to go buy cleaning chemicals. If you're a fencing guy, you probably go and buy some pickets and nail guns and whatever. So it's a good source of actually picking up some work. I've even had meetings at Bunnings where, when I started doing them, they would put on a nice spread for us. You know, there'll be 20 franchisees there, sitting near the coffee shop with people always walking around, and there's all gyms having a meeting. And a lot of times they'd come up and ask us for cards. So that's a good source. I mean, being out there, I think, gives you, it's not good sitting at home. I mean, sitting at home watching Oprah, if she's still on TV, I don't know, because I don't watch a lot of TV. But yeah, watching TV, you're not going to get a job. If you're outside, the chances are that you will. My wife used to hate me going to shopping, and I used to wear my gym's shirt or polo. She goes, "Can't you, haven't you got something else to put on?" But for me, it was a way of always trying to promote my business. The ones that do that, they can grow to a very, very large business very quickly.
So what are some of the, so just in summary, what are some of the main essential benefits that you think that someone should become a gym's cleaning franchise owner as opposed to going independent?
Okay, so with me when I signed, Joel, there was 3 questions that I asked he was a divisional, but also the franchisor or the regional. Commission. There is no commission at gyms. For me, that was very important. Every other company, and I know of about 3 or 4 other companies and the contracts, they all charge commissions.
It's revenue based, right? They touch your turnover,
absolutely.
Right?
You turn over and you'll pay anywhere between 5 to 25%. My main opposition in Sydney, I know one of them charges 25% on turnover.
Wow.
Another one charges 20, but they also have a small monthly fee. It's smaller than ours by a couple of $100.
They're still touching your turnover though. Yep.
Absolutely, but they're still touching. So you make 100,000, you just lost 20 grand. With gyms, if you don't take any leads and you build up a clientele, you make 100, 7,600. Big benefit. Your fee structure, it's based on a flat fee. You take a lead, you pay $15.40, but then you only pay for 85%. Not all divisions have got that, but I know cleaning, and a lot of the divisions do have that discounted rate. With us, it's 15%, and with most of them, it is 15%.
And that's to account for some of those clients you just can't get onto no matter what you do.
And there will be some.
Yep.
There will be some. I mean, I know that when I was working, I went to a day and I did 3 quotes. You don't get paid on quotes; you get paid on jobs. My thinking was always, I went to a client, and it wasn't to quote; it was to do a job. And having that mindset, I think, helped me grow. My first year in antennas, for instance, a franchisee of the year.
Yep.
I had a massive turnover my first year. So it was because of that mindset. The things that I did that other franchisors were not doing, franchisees were not doing. And that's what I try to instill into franchisees that I put on, that don't sit at home waiting for a lead, it won't come. You need to go out and at least, apart from the leads, you also need to go out and get your own customers.
So we've talked about a couple of benefits there. What's some other ones that you think of?
So the other big benefit for me is that, like I said, the flat fee, no commission.
24-hour support from you on the phone?
Yes.
As a business coach?
Yes, definitely that.
Make that clear, it's 24 hours, yep.
26 hours actually.
26 hours, yep.
Yeah, sometimes my trainer actually goes off with me because I make myself available, and he actually sends out an email and say, "Guys, be respectful when it's after 9 o'clock, don't call Pete," Yep. And it's not because I've asked him to do that, it's just that having that sort of background where he's come from the corporate world, he sees timelines that, they should abide for. I don't, I answer.
So they've got a personal business coach,
Absolutely.
access to experts as well.
Absolutely.
So there's obviously trainers and experts as well for any job they could they can imagine?
Mate, they can do anything, even in jobs that they've never done before. Like I said, 30 years each of these people have got experience in cleaning, a lot more than I have. What I've learned is in the eight years. But you need to have these people. And the other big one for me was there was no third line enforcing. Sorry, there is third line enforcing, but there's only for one item, and that's for insurance.
Yep.
Everything else, you want to go and buy from Bob down the road that's selling a particular chemical because you know Bob, you can go and do that. We do have suppliers, and we do say to them, look, stick with our suppliers because the products that they sell we know of. The products, for instance, that even Hayter is now has got branded in that, they won't damage your property. They won't damage you as a person. They won't damage your pets.
They're very safe, aren't they? Been developed to be safe, not wreck anything.
Safe. You know, so because of that, we know, and things like we try to bring down our insurance claims, and that's why we've gone to a range of chemicals like that. We started using those chemicals from a long time, and it's just recently Hayter's released them in a Jim's brand. So if someone is interested in those, they are available at Godfrey's now. They're actually in a store, and I think he's working to get them into Bunnings as well.
Yeah, we put them on gyms.net as well, so there's a shop there which links through to the products. And what about the brand as well? How do you find the brand goes when you go to a commercial or out in the market?
Okay, so I can give you some actual experience. Ali came up to Sydney probably about 4 or 5 years ago. So he came up, he goes, Pete, I need your help, no worries.
And Ali's the CEO of the Jim's Cleaning Group. Yep.
Ali's the CEO. So we went and we hired a couple of people to go into Darling Harbour and actually ask a question. Who would you use in cleaning if you were to have any cleaning needs? And we had 10 opposition, and in the 10 was our name. The surprising thing that we found, and we probably picked the wrong weekend to do it, but the results were still unbelievable. It was during a final it was a game, I don't know if it was the final, between England and Australia in rugby. So there's a lot of English people around Darling Harbour. We knew that because they're all wearing the rose on their uniforms. And unbeknown to us, the question was also being asked with them. It came back as 96% that they would use gyms.
Really?
And this is from, I would think, given the number of people that were there would have been 20, 30% from England, and I still chose this brand.
Wow.
This brand for us I went to this brand, and again, like I said, once those questions were asked of me, because I'd gone to other brands where commission, you have to buy from me, which means that the franchisor makes more money because he's selling you the product. This brand is so well known. Everywhere I drove, and people come to me even now in interviews, where did you hear from us? I saw a van going past. Where did you hear from it? Oh, everyone knows Jim. And it doesn't matter who you ask, everyone does know Jim. They might not know of the man, but the brand is just everywhere. It's iconic. It's for me, it's bigger than Coke. It's bigger than anything else that you can think of, because it's in the same. The percentage is probably around the same of people knowing the brand is probably the same with the big brands like Nike and Coke and Pepsi and everything else. In Australia, it's very big. There is nothing else. And I know a bit of history from it because I've been talking to Jim on so many times. When he started, VIP was already a huge company. I think now we're probably standing maybe 3 or 4 times bigger than that.
Around about the number,
which is a huge number. And that's because I think his passion, which hasn't died. I've known Jim, not as well as I do now, but I've known him for about 18 years. Passion's still the same. There is no difference. The man doesn't change. He gets older, but he doesn't change. His passion is still there. And I think that's what I try to instill. I try to instill that same passion that I had when I started, and I still have it now, and that's why I'm still with it. I would have probably left a long time ago if that wasn't there.
Well, thanks for all that information, Peter.
Yeah.
So how does someone become a part of the Jim's Cleaning family? What do they need to do? So they're watching this and going, I like the sound of Pete, I like the sound of the value of the Jim's Cleaning Group. What do they do?
Go online, make an inquiry, and a respective franchisor from the region that they belong to will give them a call within 2 hours, and they will definitely call in 2 hours. I call within about 2 minutes, but they will call them within 2 hours.
And also 131546 as well, if you want to ring up and make your inquiry.
Or Jim's Cleaning, or Jim's Group may be better.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
And Facebook as well. Jim's Cleaning's got a lot of presence on social as well. So thanks for that, Pete. It was very great to hear some really in-depth details and giving us a lot of information which is valuable for anyone who's been thinking about becoming a Jim's Cleaning Group franchisee. And if you are thinking about it, this is the type of man you will have as your support person or woman in regards to all the support they give, and he's one of our Diamond Award winners.
I think only if you're in Sydney.
Only if you're in
Down here
Sydney,
you'll have
that's
someone
true.
else.
But they'll be all Pete's calibre, so
That's
you're in
it.
good hands. So thanks for that,
No,
Peter.
absolutely.
131546 or just Google Jim's Cleaning, and there'll be various ways you can inquire online. Take some action if you're thinking about it, right? You're a lot safer in a franchise system as opposed to going alone.
Hey, Joel, I mean, for the guys that are thinking of it, you've got nothing to lose. They'll go out on a trial day, they like it, they don't like it. We're not going to hold them there. We're not going to handcuff them and say, listen, you need to buy a business. If it's not right for
Obligation
them,
free,
don't buy.
exactly right.
Absolutely obligation free.
So take action, guys. 131546 or online Jim's Cleaning, and do a trial day. That's a great point, Pete.
Yeah.
So trial days are really easily, and this is the type of calibre of franchisor that we're quite proud to have in Jim's group, and he's one of our Diamond Award winners, like many others. So thanks for that, Pete, and all that
My
information.
pleasure.